Into my story time. If you want to know more about my teen pregnancy experience, keep watching. I was pregnant at 17 years old. 17. You can already imagine what was going through my head when I found out I was pregnant. Just what I was gonna do. What was I gonna do? What was I gonna tell my parents? What was I gonna tell his parents? I was so scared. I was so nervous. I was just so, I was filled with so many different emotions at one time, just because of the fact that I was still in high school. I was a senior in high school, and I was getting ready to graduate, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be going to college, supposed to be playing volleyball. Like, so about 2 weeks after, I could feel changes going on. Like, I could feel my body just changing. I was starting to feel different. I was starting to get very sleepy. I was starting to, just be very irritable, getting irritated at every little thing, eating all the time. Mind you, this, please don't let this be it. Please don't let this be it. So I'm on Google, I'm watching YouTubes, I'm on Google trying to figure out why I'm feeling like this. Could it be possible that I'm pregnant? Could it be possible that I'm having symptoms before I'm missing my period? Like, it was just so crazy. I don't know, I'm not feeling right, like something isn't right. And he's like, are you sure you're pregnant? Like, are you sure? Are you sure? My job, we've been together since I was in the 7th grade, so it's not like it was somebody that wasn't known. Like, everybody knows him, everybody in my family knows who he is. He's comfortable coming to my house. We've been together. We grew up together, literally. So we've been together since we was 13 years old. So it was still the fact that my parents, I was pregnant, and they didn't even know I was sexually active. I'm asking my best friend, like, what should I do? Like, what should I do? What do you think? One of my other very good friends, she's like my sister. I asked her. She just so happened to be pregnant 2 months after I got pregnant, y'all. Well, she was 18, but we're in high school, seniors in high school, and we're both pregnant, so we kind of went through it together. The store and buy a pregnancy test. I was so scared to even do a pregnancy test at my house. If anybody has a dad like me, that they daddy don't play, my daddy's one of them daddies. He does not play. I love him to death. Like, that's my daddy. I'm a daddy's girl. Like, my daddy bought me everything. I was very spoiled growing up, very, very spoiled. So me being the youngest child, daddy's little girl, and I'm 17 and I'm pregnant, was just very hard for me to tell him. Friend that was also pregnant at the same time as me, I had to ask her to give me some tests. So I'm taking these tests at school with one of my other very good friends. I'm taking them in the bathroom at school. Like, mind you, this is all before I missed my period. So it's probably like the week before my period is supposed to come. So I'm taking the test at school, and they're coming out positive. Like, it's a very faint positive, but it's coming out positive. And I looked it up, and they was like, if you have any positive, then you're pregnant. So I was like, no. What are we gonna do? Like, what am I gonna tell my parents? Like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to keep it? And I'm like, yeah, I want to keep it. I'm not, no offense to anybody that gets abortions or anything like that, but I'm a true believer of everything happens for a reason. So, me being that person, I was like, no, I have to, keep it. I can't just, do that. That goes against everything that I stand for, everything that I believe in. I made this bed, now I have to lay in it type of situation. Every morning I'm starting to feel sick, y'all. I'm starting to feel like throwing up every morning. Every morning I was throwing up, y'all. I threw up every morning my whole pregnancy. Every single morning I threw up, like, stomach acid, not even food. Like, I could eat whatever I wanted. Y'all, I had very bad heartburn. Like, my very first time actually going to get professionally tested, I went to like this little pregnancy resource center, and it was 3 days and all that stuff. So I told my parents that I was going to Mellow Mushroom, because this is back, I was still 17, so I had to tell my parents where I was going and such like that. So I told them I was going out to eat, but really, I was going to that place. And that morning, I just so happened to throw up on the carpet. And, carpet stays wet for some time after you clean it. So my sisters come and put a bug in my mom's ear, like, ooh, she throwing up every morning. Her period come, like, being sneaky. You know how sisters are. I got back home. My mom was like, have you had your period? Looking at me like this. Have you had your period? I was like, no, it's not supposed to come yet. It's not supposed to come until a couple days, which was true. If you don't get your period within these next couple days, I'm getting you a test because you're throwing up every morning, and that's kind of suspect. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, oh my gosh, like if she gonna get me a test, I already know that it's over with, you know, my life is over. She did end up asking me like, where's your period? And it didn't come yet, but she didn't give me the test yet. So I hurried up and planted a pregnancy test in my trash right before I went to school so that they could see it before I went to school, because I know my mom, she's a snooper. She likes to snoop and stuff like that. So I knew she was gonna see it and, you know, show my dad and stuff like that. And that's exactly what happened. Gym was like I think my last period. So they caught me and my daddy was like, why we find a pregnancy test in the bathroom? And I'm like, I don't know. And he like, is it yours? And I'm like, yeah. He said, so what did it say? I said, it's positive. And he was like, and it just hung up, y'all. So that was it. Like my dad, after that, my daddy didn't talk to me for like 2 months. My mom, she was mad, but she kind of like understood more because she's a girl. You know, she had her first child young. She had my sister young. So she kind of like understood. She didn't really take it as bad as my dad did. My dad didn't even want me to be at the house. My dad shipped me to my sister. My sister lives in close proximity to my house. That same day when all of that happened, everybody comes to my sister's house and kind of like comforts me a little bit, and just like all in shock, but still comforting because they could tell that I was already falling into depression. So, but those 2 months I was at my sister's house, I was depressed just because of the fact that I knew it was early in my pregnancy and my hormones was all out of balance and stuff like that. And I also knew that everybody was like kind of disappointed in me. So it was kind of like hard for me to shake that feeling, making I hear little rumors like, oh, you heard about Kyra, she pregnant, da da, you know, typical high school stuff. Um, just being nosy, people being messy, people all being all in my business. And, you know, I kind of was very good at blocking people out, not caring. Having pimples, like real acne. And I'm not the person to break out, to have acne breakouts. I'm not that person. I might get a few hormonal breakouts, but I don't normally get pimples. When I tell y'all, I was having pimples during this pregnancy. So everybody's like, oh, you're having a girl. And people that didn't know I was pregnant was looking at me like, Kyra, what's wrong with your skin? Like, what's going on? Like, your skin never looked like this. So, you know, they were more accepting to the fact and more supportive, and just took it a little lighter. Maybe because he's a boy, I don't know. But they even contacted me and was like, you know, we're here for you, we support you and stuff like that. Whereas my parents was like the complete opposite. I really had a really smooth pregnancy. I didn't have any complications. My labor was like very smooth. I had her within about like 6 hours of being at the hospital. It was just very smooth. I pushed her out. I ended up being able to actually pull her out. Like the doctor, I had a midwife. She gave me a chance to pull her out. I felt her before I pushed her out, and I pulled her out. It was just a very beautiful, amazing experience. My baby is 2 now. She turns 3 August 28th. And she is so beautiful. She looks just like her daddy. But, you know, I ended up going to aesthetic school after I had her. Everything just works out for a reason. You might think that you have a plan to do this, but I'm telling you, when God puts something in your life to happen, let it happen. Pregnant and you're watching this, or especially if you're a teen pregnancy, you're having teen pregnancy and you're watching this, please just stay strong. Like, don't be afraid to tell your parents, you know, they're gonna support you, they're gonna love y'all. When I tell you, my parents love my baby now. Like, I don't know what they would do without her. They love my baby so much. So, you know, people get over things, and, you know, people might seem mad now, but everything is a blessing. Everything happens for a reason. And, you know, just try to stay positive. I know it may be hard, but, you know, push through it, graduate, do what you got to do, make your money, period. I hope you enjoyed my mini story time on my pregnancy. If you'd like to hear more story times, comment what you'd like to know, comment any questions. I'm gonna do Q&As, more tutorials, everything coming your way.